Okay, we're gonna give a big, big fingers crossed to YouTube and hope that the stream is looking healthy and looking good on YouTube's end. Everyone who's been joining us through this deserves a big badge for hanging in there despite the technical difficulties. We appreciate it very much. So I'm going to prattle on a little bit here so that we can test out all the technical stuff. But yeah, things are going well. Things are going well on this end. Things are going very well, despite this little hiccup of the last 10 minutes. We have some good stuff to do. We have some Sakrat to work on, the Sakrat family, our mono / sesquisyllabic analytic family. We're going to work on that. The last time we played around with it, we made a big, well, maybe I'll just show you briefly. We made a big list of branches and we started evolving some words. And today we're going to continue down this road, and I think we may start to evolve a tone system for one of these, at least one of these branches. So that's the basic plan. I'll come back here to the full screen to say hi to everyone. So we are back on YouTube and Twitch. Everything, fingers crossed, seems to be looking good. And Sutton, deep syntax theory. The thing about doing syntax on stream is that you kind of need a lot of, I don't know, you need to build up a lot of stuff in order to get to the point where you can discuss stuff. So we might have to do a separate series if we want to get into more hardcore syntax stuff. Whereas I think phonology and morphology to a certain extent is more accessible because the forms are so much more evident. Like you can pronounce the things at issue in a phonological problem, but in syntax it's if you're straying from the language that you speak, things can become a bit tough to grapple with. But that's a good idea. We should get into some syntax at some point. But for now, we're going to get back to Sakrat. We're going to make some word forms. I've been playing around in Lexergy for some of the branches. So I've got I've done some work. So I think we have the basis for evolving a little tone system here. And yeah, so why don't we just jump in? I'll say hello to YouTube for a brief second, then we'll jump in and we'll take a look at what we can do. So, YouTube, welcome back. We are working on the Sakrat family again, the Sakrat family, say it properly, Colin. And we are going to be we're going to be evolving some new languages, some diversifying our branches, and we maybe even get to a tone system. I don't know if we'll get to it in this segment, but without any further ado, why don't we jump in? And we'll scoot me over to the side because I'm not the important thing here. So let's catch up on what has been going on. So we have these branches here. We have, okay, let's cast our mind back to the state of mind of Colin from actually I think 2 months ago now. So we have these branches, branch 1, branch 2. I think we could probably name them something more clear. We could call it A, B, and then we could do something like B1 and make sure we've got all this correct. Yeah, B1, B1A, B1B, and then we can have B2, B2A, B2A1, B2A2. I thought this was going to be a lot clearer. It's moderately clearer. C and CA. So these are our branches. Basically, the way to read these is you have at the top level branching into A, B, so A languages, B languages, and C languages. And then they branch, well, B branches into B1 and B2. And then B1 branches to B1A and B1B. And so the ones that are colored orange are the languages that we've got into the sort of the present day. So let's call CA also a present day language. That's not the same orange. Heavens. What's going on here? Okay, so this... Which one is it? This one? I don't know. Colin struggles with colors. Let's... Welcome to another episode of Colin Struggles with Colors and the basic functionality of Google Sheets. Okay, great. So our present day languages are A, B1A, B1B, B2A1, B2A2, and CA so far. So let's take a look at them. I have made Lexergy rule sets for the first three. So A, B1A, B1B. So we can, fortunately Lexergy is always a bit tough to display on screen, but this is going to be our B1A, I believe. So if we look at the, it's thinking about it. If we look at the outputs, let's not look at anything but the outputs. We can actually write in everything that happens. Oops, wrong one. This is going into which one is this? This is going into B2A1. Yeah, this is right. Okay, so B2A1. Sorry, I'm a bit flustered because of all those technical difficulties, but we're gonna get back on the ship, I guess, to fit with the metaphor of this proto language. Okay, so we have some forms for B2A1. It's looking kind of cool. I think, yeah, we got some good stuff here. Let's move on and let's add some forms for the other for the other modern languages that we've evolved. So if I go here, this is going to give us B1A or B1B. So apply. We're going to come up with better names than these B things, but A, B, C. But let's just... Okay. Good. So we have our forms here. Look, we've evolved so many cool cognate sets. Let's go and just finish this off and put B1A in. So this is going to give us again, it's thinking about it. All right. It's going to give us B1A here. So this is good. So let's look at some of these cognate sets. A doesn't have really any changes associated with it at this point. It's, I think, just proto-Sakrat. So we'll have to play with A. But we have some cool cognate sets that I want to point out. We have pkak, pak, pkok for these three languages. We have things like juju, dudu, and dudu. We have, what are some other cool ones? We have husngung, and hungasun. That's kind of fun. We have kli and xeli. We have, where are our, we have, where are our, 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 w yes, we have our lateral fricatives coming in here. So we have sla, hla, hla. Seems that somewhere along the line these have gotten out of order. Let me fix this briefly. How did this happen? How did this happen? Dudwanga. Hill. Okay, I don't know where that comes from, but we can insert some cells and shift down using the advanced skills here. Shift down, that should make it all right. Okay, good. So we're in order now. Chat. Here's what I think we should do. Let's find some, let's use B1, I don't know, which one should we use? Let's use B1A, and let's see if we can evolve. Let's just see if we can let our imaginations take flight, and let's see if we can evolve a little family where B1A is the proto-language, and let's involve tone, because I think it's time. I think I'd like tone to evolve in B1A and B1B, and also in B2A2. I think these are the places where tone, I think, should come in. So, two things. Let's evolve some tone for B1A. Let's see if we can give B1A a better name than B1A, because that's going to become annoying and very confusing, and I'm already confused. So yeah, okay, let's continue. So B1A is a bit of a cool one. It has a few interesting features. One is that we have the lateral fricatives coming in. So from proto-lusul, we have hlul. Essentially what happened is that, well, let's actually just look at what happened. Trace the evolution of lusul. A lot of rules, so it takes a minute. So what we see is, let's find ourselves a good place to look. And let's zoom in here. So let's zoom in even more. So we do our stress assignment. So lusul. Then what happens is oo's labialize the preceding consonant. So we have lusul. Then we reduce the minor syllable to schwa, so lusul. And then we remove co-articulation. So the rounding co-articulation on S is going to go away because it's still next to this oo. So the mind doesn't know how to interpret where this labialization is. Is it on the consonant? Is it on the vowel? Because both are have the lips rounded, and so the mind interprets it from one generation to the next as being either on the vowel or on the vowel and the consonant. But with the reduced vowel, we don't have that option. We can't reinterpret it as being lasul because we have this lasul. So this is going to become the source of some interesting things in future generations, but not for this form. So then we lose the schwa, so we have lusul. We remove that co-articulation because it's going to be hard to hear next to S, so lusul, so we just get lusul. Then we metathesize L and S to fit the sonority sequencing principle, where we have increasing sonority towards the nucleus of a syllable, as we've talked about on other occasions. So from lusul, very hard to say, to slul. And then SL is going to give us our lateral fricative hla. So that's the journey of lusul to hlul. And let's move that over here. Okay, back to what we were doing. Other things. This is cool. So manis is going to become mris, and this is this cool thing that happens in Scottish Gaelic as well. So we have MN clusters where the N loses its the N turns into like a rhotic, mra, and the nasalization travels onto the vowel. So we get a more a syllable structure that's more in keeping with this sonority sequencing principle, where we rise in sonority. So we have this nasal followed by a liquid, mbra, easier than mna, which you have ma, na, same sonority. But that nasalization doesn't want to give up the ghost. So where does it go? It goes onto the following vowel. So from something like manis, going to manis, going to mnis, going to mris. And so that's why we have this. And something similar is happening in munal. So proto-munal going to B1A maral. That's interesting. Other interesting things. Let's see. We have retroflexes. So consonants followed by R in the proto-language become retroflexes. So nrit becoming neat. Don't know if you can hear that. You can see the retroflexion. Neat. A few interesting things like that. And then we have great words like smun and snir from nisun and ngasir. I think some of you might enjoy that. So that's a bit of a preview of B1A. Let's give B1A a better name. Let's take it from one of these forms. Let's take it. I don't know. What can we use as a nice form? We could say something like we could have fun and say something like sgun. Oh, that's a good idea. We could use you could use this goddess form. So mris. So how would we Romanize this? Maybe something, we could call it Mni. So we can write it M-N-I-S, but it's going to be pronounced mris. That could be confusing. Otherwise, we can just IPA it. Yeah, why don't we just IPA it right for now? Mris. Okay, so this is the language of the goddess. Cool. Or maybe it's the name of a particular goddess. I think Team B from the Historical Linguistics Challenge had some amazing semantic evolution, and I feel like we've got to up our game in terms of semantic evolution. Once we've seen their great work. So okay, so let's call B1A Maris for now at least, and let's move on. Let's make some tone. Okay. So I'm going to let's establish some conventions for writing tone, because I don't want to have to cause any pain to your I don't want to cause any pain in your minds as I'm going to searching for things. So we will just start off by writing the tone after the segmental phonology of the syllables. So if we had kal with a high tone, it would be kal. And if it's kal with low tone, it would be kal. And if we're going to do contour tones, we could do a falling tone, so high to low, kal. And we'll write it this way for now, because I don't want to mess around with too many diacritics or anything like that, and then we can come up with fancier ways of writing them and even romanizing them in a bit. Okay, so let me just revisit the chat, because I know I've missed something as I was prattling on about all of this business. Okay, I'm going to scroll up. Sutton, word initial gemination. I think we should have it. So in B1b, we'll give that a name soon. This has a lot of word initial gemination. I don't think we should lose it. I think we should do something tonal with it. I think it should take more or less the same path as it's taken in Korean. We have geminates becoming tense consonants and then throwing off a high tone. I know that's not all varieties of Korean, but in, I think Seoul Korean, I could be, those who know Korean, put in the chat. All right. So what if, Benji writes, what if B1A, aka Maurice, lost all non-plosive codas, with fricatives getting a low tone before they go? Yeah, so what's going to happen with... So I think what we need to do is we need to reduce the coda contrasts, so that we can get to a point where we know what kind of... well, we need to, first of all, find out what the effects of different codas on fundamental frequency are. Then we need to erase some of those distinctions, and those changes in frequency will remain, giving us a tone system. So we need to reduce the coda inventory. So let's do this. Okay, so those of you, I know tonogenesis has become a very popular topic, and I'm by no means an expert in tonogenesis, but I'm going to go with 4 rules, and we can get more complicated from there. And those of you in the chat who are tone mavens, I know there's at least one, likely. I won't say who. Can put in suggestions, and then we can sort of build this up. But the first rule is that glottal stops at the end of syllables are going to make the preceding vowel go high. So what we can do in order to achieve this is have our final obstruents, or our final stops, actually, glottalize a bit, as happens in English, actually, at least in many varieties. And then we can start to have that glottalization give the vowel high tone. I see a lull in the comments. Excellent. Okay. So yeah, please feel free to knowledge dump in the chat if you're so inclined. If not, feel free to sit back and relax and watch what happens. So the fates of different things. So we're going to, let me get this IPA keyboard off to the side so I'm not, there we go. So you don't have to see it. Back here. So we are going to go through a few stages. We are going to glottalize our final stops. So using, I don't know, what's a cool word? We could use something like kut as the example. So we are going to glottalize kut. I don't know if these subtle things come through with the sound setup, but imagine I'm glottalizing it. And then this is going to make the vowel allophonically have a high tone. And so this is going to be our pathway. towards high tone. How are we going to get low tone? You can hear the glottalization? Excellent. So how are we going to get low tone? Through final fricatives. So if we have a fricative, like in case, that is going to give us the origin of low tone. So then what we have to do in order to make this turn into a proper tone system is to remove the thing that conditions these allophonic changes in pitch. So we're going to have to delete word final consonants. The question is, does that make everything? So this will give us something like a CV language with nasals sticking around. Do we want this? Yeah, I think Quayne, you're right. I think it's not as fun when we lose all of these codas. Why don't we do this? Let's go with a system like where we don't quite have a tone system yet. We have our fricative codas debuccalizing to H and our stop codas debuccalizing to glottal stop. So it ends up looking something like this. Yeah. And all of these glottal stops are going to give us high tone, and all of these fricatives are going to give us low tone. And so something like this. And then for the for everything else, maybe we call them midtone. Because it depends on what kind of system we like. Okay, so let's look at the chat. Got a question from Benji. Can words end in voiced stops? Let's remind ourselves of this. So I believe they can, yes. Why don't we have any? We should have some somewhere around here. Rusad, so srad. Okay, so here's an interesting suggestion. Maybe codas don't go, but they merge. Oh, and lest I mispronounce your name, would you mind dropping the IPA in, so I can credit you with proper pronunciation? This is the comment of kut kus merging to kut. The thing, this sort of does remind me of Korean, where we have S's neutralizing to T in coda position. That's interesting. I'm gonna leave this for the time being because I don't want there to be dead air, and I think my brain is going to need to take a moment to appreciate everything. But so if we go, if we have a system like this, where where we have midtones on anything that isn't explicitly marked high or low. Here's what I'm tempted to do, and I just don't know if it's what we really want. We lose these coded distinctions altogether. So this is one option. So then we end up with total a three-way tone system, low, medium, and high, where we have strict open syllables in the language, with the exception of liquids, or sonorants, I guess. This is a possibility. And then what we could do is we could have okay, Taga, thank you. Thank you for your suggestion, and thank you for the IPA. I love how, by the way, I just want to say, this community, I love how I can say drop the IPA in and people know what that is. And people will do it. That's amazing. We have some interesting thoughts about tone sandhi going on in the chat. You're way ahead of me, chat. Okay, so then we have this three-way contrast, which we can then play with a little bit more with the other two rules. So we've done the first two rules where glottal stops are giving high tone, fricatives are giving low tone, and then we can do the next thing where we get tone effects from the beginning of the syllable. And what we can get there is voiced segments giving low tone, and spread glottis segments. So this would be things like aspirates or H, giving high tone. So let's see what this looks like. So here's an example of something with a voiceless consonant at the start and nothing special at the end. So we might say medium, medium. Voiceless consonant at the start and a form of fricative at the end, so medium, low. Quaid points out that K can give high tone as well. Is that something specific to velars, or is that yeah, I'm curious about the basis behind that. So I'm just going to finish this illustration and then we can discuss. So then Kri will give us, so we have a voiced consonant before the vowel. So this will give us something like low, low. And so essentially what we're going to do is end up with two independent parameters. One is what's the start of the tone doing based on the onset, properties of the onset consonant, and one, what's the end of the tone doing based on the properties of the coda, or the former coda. And so this is going to give us all sorts of different combinations, and then we have essentially this contour tone system, which we can then play with and merge some of the categories, because I think we don't want to have, you know, so many, quite so many. And then, okay, so let's continue what we were thinking of. So Kla would give us something like low, high. Ka would give us something like, mid, mid. Klu would give us something like low, high. Kli, low, mid. Kut giving us mid, high. Que giving us, I guess depending on if we count the W as an onset consonant or part of the vowel, we could do something like, so assuming that that we're counting the W as part of the nucleus, we could do M. Otherwise, it would be LM. Then here we have what we're doing. We would have something like LM, LH. So this is we would have all of these different contours, and then probably we would want to collapse some of the distinctions. But something else to notice is that the start of the contour is still fully predictable while we have these contrasts between, say, let's see if we can find a little minimal pair here between see if we can, it's not a minimal pair, but it's a near minimal pair between K and Kri. So the fact that it starts with, sorry, I should say K and Kri, the fact that it has this R here is what's giving it the initial low tone. So if we were to, as Sutton suggests, smash some consonants, for this to be truly independent from the initial consonant, we would have to do something like delete delete these L's and R's in the clusters. Okay, so let's do that. Or maybe we can do something a little more interesting than that. Maybe what we can do is we can turn them into glides. So from kla to kya, and from kri to ki. And then we will actually have new contrasts, because these glides were possible, as you can see here, kwe. We have a glide. And here, so the glides that come from the consonant clusters give off low tone, and the glides that were there originally give off mid-tone. And so that's how we have the emergence of this as a contrastive category. Okay. And then I see no reason why, and I think this was in the chat as well. So we also lose these liquids in the codas as well. So then we have things like kai, ke, ki, kya, ka, kyu, ki. This contours between mid and high are kind of tough. Okay. So I'm kind of pleased with this setup, although we've lost most of our codas, which is kind of sad. But we have other branches to play with codas too. So maybe it's not the end of the world. And then, given this, what does mris look like? So mris is going to be well, let's go down and actually do it. So it's going to start off voiced, so it's going to start off low, and it's going to end low because it ends in a fricative, which is going to delete, and we're going to have something like mi, nasalized. So I've rushed through this to a certain extent, although I'm still way behind the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a break here for YouTube, and in the break I'm going to catch up with the chat, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do some more. So let's say goodbye to YouTube for now. Bye YouTube. We'll see you again soon. Come back for more tonogenesis fun. Okay. Sorry about that. There are only so many windows I can have open at a time, and I see lots of wisdom coming from the chat. So, thoughts on the basic setup that we have here. That I've plowed ahead, and I've demolished all of these codas. I've been removing consonantal contrast left and right. What think you about the general direction? Benji asks, in Mris, voice stops aren't mentioned. So there are voice stops. I happen to be on the part of the screen that had stuff starting at K. There are voice stops in coda position. Given the rules that I just set out, they would neutralize and you would see no more of them. They would be treated just like voiceless stops. In onset positions, they could throw off low tone as opposed to mid tone. So that's the situation with voice stops in Manis or Mi, as we might have to end up calling it. Yeah, there's lots left. We started late today due to some technical difficulties, so we'll go a bit later as well. Okay. So I'm going to scroll up. Yeah, Benji. Yeah, it looks like Benji. Whoa. Focus camera. Looks like Benji was thinking along the same lines, or as I was thinking along the same lines as Benji, where we're going from cal to. Actually, I didn't do cal to cow. I did cal to kai. Maybe cal to cow is nicer if it velarizes, like L does in so many other languages. And then nasals could nasalize the previous vowel. Yeah. Because we already have nasals in the system. Yeah. Okay. Any plans on adding phonation in with tone? We could do it. I'll confess, I'm not an expert in the phonetics of phonation and tone, so I would probably want to ask the chat for input or do a little prep beforehand. If so. Okay, so I'm going to hydrate and stretch. And we're going to continue. So I'm going to say hello to YouTube. YouTube. Welcome back. We are going to work some more on Sakrat, specifically this one branch of the Sakrat family, which we've called Mris for now. It may have to change, but for now it is the language of the goddess from the proto form Manis, meaning goddess. So in this branch it is Mris, or maybe because we've just been doing a bit of tonogenesis, it could be Mi. So I think we gotta jump in. We gotta jump back in. Let's go. So what we could do is take Benji's suggestion where we do start nasalizing some of these codas, but not all of the nasals. So we can nasalize based on, I don't know, we could nasalize based on M. I think this was Benji's suggestion. We can nasalize M and then leave N and the velar nasal to contrast as codas. Or we could nasalize on the velar nasal, lose the velar nasal, and still contrast M and N as codas. Or we could merge M and N. Yeah. Okay, well, let's play with it. So let's play with it. Here is a good place. So let's take a look at. Let's run through some more. Let's run through some more. So we have here the LH, Kia, Klat is going to become LH. So Lyakya. We don't need that much space. Okay. And then I wanted to revise one of the things we've done. So Kal, going to cow. Cow. But let's do a bit more. So here we have liao, so in Proto-Maurice we have liao, and we are going to turn this into LM because these glides are original. They are not the result of the changes to earlier ra or la. So let's continue with that. So pleat, we have pied, and this is going to give us L or L and then H. P. Okay, here's something where we actually have a difference. Hlul. So hla is going to be plus spread glottis. And so it is going to throw off a high tone at the start, which we haven't seen much of yet. And then we're going to have a mid-tone at the end because it is a sonorant, and we're going to end up with something like hlu. And then let's keep going. So ma is going to give us mid-mid. Oh, sorry, low-mid. Mlu is going to become mu and become low-mid. Mi, we've already done. Now, I think what we should do is take the... Where's an example? I want something that ends in a velar nasal. Does it exist? If I can find something that ends in a velar nasal, then we could add some more nasalization. Wong. South or below. So, ma. And So, sorry, we're starting with L because this is... Actually, no, we don't have anything. Oh, sorry about that. I guess we lost audio. Oh, I know what happened. There's an overly aggressive hotkey. How long was I out for? Goodness gracious. There's an over-aggressive hotkey that I accidentally pressed when I was trying to access that nasal diacritic. Whew, just not my day today, I think. All right, well, regardless, we have, at least you can see the IPA, right? So we have Wong. Get all this here. We have Wong is going to be mid-mid because there's nothing particularly affecting the tone. And then we have the velar nasal turning into nasalization. And so similarly, we'll have call nasalization showing up here, and the tonal fate will be what will the tonal fate be? It will be medium. Why do I keep saying medium? Mid and mid. So won and quand. That's pretty cool. And then here, okay, so I think we've traced out the system for the most part. I would like to then reduce some of these categories. So let's just go over here to a sheet. So we have HML first, we have HML second, and what are our contours going to be? So these are obviously just high, mid, low, and then I think what we should do is not have too many contrasting contours. So I'm thinking, let's keep HL, let's keep LH, because they're very clear contours. Then what we could do is, in these 4 cells, where we would have something like HM, MH, LM, so LM and ML, we can do something like, we could just change ML wholesale to HL, change MH to LH, and then we could be totally symmetrical and just say, as Sutton points out, M just assimilates. We could do that, which I think is probably the simplest thing. So whenever we have a contour involving mid, it just goes low if it's going to high, or goes high if it's going to low. I'm getting a request from Quain to make it not symmetrical. Okay, so Quain, question for you. Is there any basis for one particular type of contour being a bit less likely to merge like this? Because if there is, then let's definitely keep in something a little bit asymmetrical to have that nice, that nice asymmetrical beauty where you have the mountain over here and you have a little tree over here. There's a balance, but it's dynamic. Okay, so if we can designate a stronger end, we can say that perhaps the second element, so the end of the contour, is more likely to, okay, I don't want to get into too much of a theoretical terminology, but essentially it's kind of like how in syllable structure you have fewer contrasts in codas than you have in onsets. So if you have something going into a coda, it's likely to be neutralized. So maybe the tone has a similar situation where the first part of the tonal contour, they're back. The ice cream wagon is back. Oh, welcome. Yay. Okay. So ice cream for everyone. So let's say that the end of the, I don't even know if I should interrupt this. This is just part of it. This is like more interesting than what I'm saying. I know you're all thinking about ice cream. This is actually not a Canadian thing. This is a Peruvian thing, because I am right now in Lima. Our ice cream trucks in Canada make a little like jingle. They have a little, or at least I can't speak for the entire country, but in Southern Ontario, where I'm from, that's what we would hear on the street as kids, and that's what we would all run out to in excitement. Okay. No, not quite yet back home. You'll see when I'm back. When I'm back, you'll see the traditional setup. I'll have my mic out here like this, and everything will be. Well, and I'll also probably be, well, no, I may be in short sleeves by that point. Okay, so we were talking about removing contrast and tonal contours. So what we could do is, have contrasts more likely to stick around in the second half than in the first half. So that means that we could do something like when it starts with M, we lose it. We lose M. And when it ends in M, it's still, M sticks around. So then we would have this. We would have high, high, high going to high, medium, high going, mid, high. What do I keep saying medium? Mid, high going to low, high. Low, high staying as low, high. But high, mid going to high, mid. Low, mid going to low, mid. And mid, low going to just low. Or alternatively going to high, low. That's still a bit too symmetrical, so let's just say it's going to low. And then how many distinct contours do we have? H, LH, HM, M, LM, HL, L. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I mean, definitely, maybe. I'm gonna just take Quain's word. You know, I'm just gonna follow Quain's advice here. Let's get down. Let's get this a bit down. So HM going to H, LM going to L, and now we have 5. Okay. H, LH, M, HL, L. So can I produce all of these? I think I creaky voiced that that low tone. All right, we won't assign them numbers yet, but we probably will in the future. Okay, so we have this almost symmetry as Moontruther points out. Let's put this into practice. So we've got our beautiful system here. I'm going to need to put this off to the side so I can actually keep track of it. So I'm going to open this up in my secret part of the screen that you can't see. And I'm going to keep it there. Okay, so then let's go back here and apply this. So we have midtone for gal. We have ML. What happens to ML? It just goes to L. So okay. The LH stays. MM stays M. Yeah, Mandarin tone 3 is creaky, and that's probably where I picked that up. That's the Mandarin low tone. Okay, so where was I? Oh yeah, LM going to, what did we say? LM going to L, MH going to LH, Quay going to MM going to M, LM going to L. Good, good, good. LM going to L, LH, HM going to H, LM going to L. So I'll just quickly do that. So here we actually have some forms. So we have gal, ge, ki, kia, ka, kyu, ki, gu, que, la, lia, lia, kia, liao, pi, hlu. A high tone. Ma, mu, mi. Great. Okay. Right. All right, so yeah, Moon Truther, good point. It's probably useful for us to mark down the ones that we've done already. Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of clear that they have tone thingies after them. But we just have to finish the job. Finish the job, James. All right, so I think that's that. Okay, we have a working tone system here. I think we have despoiled this this language of all of its codas except for a few nasals, and I don't feel too bad about it. So how are we going to write it? I think we're going to have to write it something like, so it was Maris, but in its later form it's going to be pronounced me. So how we write that, let's just keep it in IPA for now to prevent difficulties. And me. And there we go. All right, I'm proud of this. This is quite good. Now, of course, the real task will be to go into Lexergy and have to deal with it. But I'm pleased with this. How long has it been since we did a break? Not that long, right? I think we still need to give YouTube a little bit more content. Yeah, so there will be an earlier stage of this language which we can call Maris, which I've overwritten in this tab, but yeah, I'll make a column for it. In fact, I could do that right now. And this will be, just remove this, and we can just get it back from Lexergy. There we go. We can put it back here so we can compare before and after. So Kal going to Kao, Kes going to Ke, Chris going to Ki, Klat going to Kya. Yeah, I'm pleased with this. Okay, Quain's been after this form steep. It's got to go. All right, let's see what we can do about that. Where is that? It should be down here, right? Songbird. Yeah. Okay, so what's this going to be? What's this going to turn into? So we lose. Let me bring back up my rule document. So we are going to have something like MH on this one, and that's going to turn into LH. So the rising tone. Great, so we're now to D. What to do with this cluster? T. We could turn into shti. That would be an option. We could metathesize it a bit and turn it to chi. Yeah. I think with this sort of minimal syllable structure, this language is turning out to have. Yeah. We can just remove that so that we have chi. And that's a nice word for a songbird, isn't it? Chi. I really want to write poetry in this language now. It's going to be fun. Okay. Are there any other abominable words? So we might want to get rid of this cluster tpud. Okay, let's see what happens to it. So we are going to, this is going to be another thing that turns into the rising tone. And then what we could do, see, this is great. I feel like I'm Billy Joel here sitting at the piano and people are giving me suggestions and I'm taking advantage of it. This is great. So I like Benji's suggestion of TP going to TW, so something like tool. We have the potential to play with the initial geminates in B1B. So tool or tool. I dig that. And we have an initial geminate here as well, which we could just degeminate here. That could work. Yeah, maybe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark down these ones where I've made sort of unilateral changes. So we could do the, yeah, if we do the throwing off the high tone, then we could do something like this. It goes to HM, and HM, if I remember correctly, is just H. So tan. Yeah, I like that. Tan. Cool. And then we have our nice retroflex. Our nice retroflexes here. So these are going to give us cha, chow. Especially with the retroflexes, Quinn, it is starting to look more Mandarin-like. Maybe we can let's resist the next temptation to Mandarinize it when it comes up. So, for example, let's keep our lateral fricatives. We could do that. Or what we can do is we can lose the retroflexes by changing the vowels, by putting the contrast onto the vowels and then neutralizing the retroflex contrast. So something like, I don't know. The problem with this way of writing is you never have the good minimal pairs, but something like top fronting. So to, where is, oops. I never know where my, on this keyboard, I never know where anything is. It's a real problem. So something like tap. So let's give this its tone. So we need to have, we need this to be ML. And what happens to ML? It is L. So ta. And maybe if you have a vowel after a coronal, a non-retroflex coronal, you get some sort of a fronting, like ta. But then after a retroflex coronal, you don't get the fronting, and then the retroflex de-retroflexes, and you have the contrast expressed on the vowel. Maybe. That's something that we could do. Something that we could do. Don't know if we will. Have to think about it. I think these are probably also on the chopping block. So let's take care of it. So we have, here we have a nasal followed by a nasal vowel. I don't love the idea of a contrast in oral versus nasal before nasal vowels. So I'm going to denasalize this one. and mark down that I've done something here. And then we are going to have this turn to Qian, and this is going to low mid, aka low. So Qian. Yeah, or maybe the retroflex will back the vowel. I think that if we want to get rid of the retroflex and de-Mandarinize the look of this, we should at least take advantage of the opportunity to do something to the vowel to add a bit of interest there. But I'm going to just break for YouTube here, and I'll come back and say goodbye to YouTube. Bye, YouTube. Thanks for joining. Really, this is a lot of fun. I don't know if you can tell I'm enjoying myself. And I love that I can share it with YouTube, all of you. So if you have any thoughts on the language, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, we will see you next time. And I'll do a freeze frame. Okay. I have a sticker in one of the chatting apps that it's got Alf, and he does like, I don't know if anyone here knows Alf. If you know Alf, you know, put it in the chat, because if you don't know Alf, you are missing out on some of the height of 1980s culture. Okay, so what are we going to do next? I think what we could do is let's go over to B1B and let's evolve another tone system, a different tone system. So I came into B1A, aka me, with a lot of with some ideas of sort of like basic tonogenesis stuff that we wanted to do. However, in B1B, we'll start off by giving it a name, and then I think what we'll do is we will open it up to the chat and have a different flavor of tone system, maybe with some interesting changes in phonation. So yeah, opening up to suggestions. I will watch the chat like a hawk, and we can have some fun with that. Yeah, maybe in B1B we're not so zealous in our deletion of consonants. That would be a good way of differentiating the two. Okay, so I'll say hi to YouTube, and then we'll get back to work. YouTube, hey YouTube, welcome back. We're working on tone systems again in the Sakrat family. Last time we evolved a pretty cool tone system for one of the languages, which we ended up calling Mi. And this time we're going to do another one with the help of the loyal and ingenious chat. So let's go and let's scoot over to the side with me, and let's take advantage of some of the great suggestions that have been coming out. So I'm going to write down, just remove this. This is our Mi tone resolution chart. So we can put that off to the side. We are not going to need it now. So let's brainstorm and get some ideas. So I'm going to just scroll up in the chat, and some of you know Alf. Oh, warms my heart. Warms my heart. Okay, so the idea behind B1B, so I need to come up with a name, but let's do not so consonant deletion happy. Merge contrasts. By merging the contrast, we could get down to a system like PTKMN eng, as Quain suggests. So this is going to be our coda inventory. And S is going to go to T, like in Korean. And then I think we will still want to have the geminates give us high tone. And yeah, maybe we could put in some creaky voice. I saw some discussion in the chat about where creaky voice is most likely to occur. So bring your thoughts on that. Satan's rabid for Sunday. Yes, we could have some. We could have some. We do have some in the lexicon. We have some multi-word phrases that we can play with. Where are they? Where are they? Ah, yeah, here. Less class is one. So we can play with that. Oops. Oops. Always getting lost in my own spreadsheet. All right, so some Sandi. And all right, any other thoughts before we jump in? Fewer contours. Okay. The total number of contours. So yeah, we're going to be 3 to 4 tone categories in total. Okay. I know I must have missed something. So if I missed something that you've said that you want me to cover, just put it back in the chat as we go, and I will see it hopefully there. There's some controversy about a final "b." Whether we want to, well, we can try it out. We can see what it looks like. I have to say, I feel like I'm on Quain's side in the dispute over final "b" in so voiced that one voiced labial coda, but I don't know. I'm not dogmatic. I could be convinced. Okay. So these are our guiding lights. So let's go back. I will have these open to the side. And yeah, maybe we can lose the lateral fricative. Lateral fricative with L. Okay. And if we're neutralizing, so if we're putting S to T, the thing is yeah, the question is this a chain shift? So where S is turning into T and T is turning into glottal stop, or are we, or is it just a neutralization? The Korean case is a neutralization. I see there's again differences of opinions in the chat. Well, the nice thing is what we can always do is we can make one version with and one version without. So we can have two varieties of this branch, and one can be chain shifted with or without chain shift of T to glottal stop. Let's, okay. I think we've got everything we need. Let's start. So the first thing is let's come up with a name so that we are not we're not saying B1B. I have so many regrets over my original nomenclature of this of these. So So we need to come up with something cool to call it. And I'm going to hide these columns so we don't have to be distracted by them. Ship, I'm glad that you like the colored columns. I find once I saw Sasute do it, I was like, I gotta do this. This is essential. And I'm glad it doesn't hurt your eyes as much. Maybe we can put this one as a color as well. That hurts my eyes a bit. See if we can find something. No, these are horrible. Ah, okay, that's nice. Great. And then let's paste the format. Okay. So, ooh, I just saw a cool suggestion. If we have the lateral fricative go to S, we can have the go to ts. Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm going to put that in the... So merge the lateral fricative with S. We're good. All right. So we need to come up with a name. Let's find something that we can use for now. We could use something like sla, this protoform sla, which means speak, which turns into hla. That works. Let's use that as the first bit, and let's find something like Sasute. This should also be dealt with. This geminate suit. So this would be something like, since this is a left-headed family, people's speech, la suite. So I think that works pretty well. And it's going to turn into something else like Sasute or something in our new language. Okay. What did we do? So we've done the first thing. We've come up with the name. Then we have S to T in the coda. The question is, are we going to Sasute? That sounds kind of nice, doesn't it? So let's give ourselves a consonant. Let's give ourselves tone from the fricatives, like we did before. So fricatives at the end of the word are going to give us low tone. So the first change, maybe I should let you see yeah, I'll let you see this so that we can keep all on the same page. So first change would be that vowel becomes low tone before a fricative. And then we are going to have S turn to T in coda position. Since it's mostly a monosyllabic language, we can just use the word boundary for that. So then we get something like nrit and nrit and krit. And that's good. Oh, interesting. Inverted tones. We're getting into advanced territory here. Let's go through and make and get the basics of the system outlined, and then we'll play. Then we want I'm getting a suggestion that we don't want midtones in here. Okay, so let it be written, so let it be done. The midtone shall be stricken from every temple and obelisk in this language. We are having high and low. This will help us get to our 3 to 4 tone categories. Okay, who needs midtone? So we're going to default to high. So in the first stage, we're just assigning low tone based on fricatives in the coda. So everyone's going to get high. Sounds like a song from the 60s. I think I'm becoming a boomer. It's happening. It's good. It's a good thing. Okay, so there's not a lot else going on here. The only place we're going to see the contrast is in words that ended in S originally. So one example would be this word manis, the protoform manis, which here we're getting mis. So this is going to meet. Great. So the only place where we have contrast in tone is before final T. For now. Then I think we also want the geminates. So vowel to high after geminates. Which means if we're having high tone as a default at the end of the contour, and we're having high tone coming off of initial geminates, so something like giving us falling tone here, meet. So this is cool. Now we have this cognate, me, and meet, meaning goddess. Thumbs up. What else can we do? But the question is then, what about something like men? What are we going to do with that? So it's going to just be high. Men. So most things are going to just be high. Where we need a source for low tone in the at the start of the contour. Otherwise, everything is just going to be high. And this throwing off high tone after the geminate is not particularly interesting. Perhaps the default for well, no, we can use voicing to give us low tone for the start of the contour. Yeah, so nasals. So let's have nasals give us low. So vowel to low after nasal. So then we have mon. And although then the question would be, do vowels have the same effect in the coda as they do in the onset? So if nasals are throwing off low tone when they're in the onset, if we have something like men or mon, does the final element of the contour have high or low tone? High tone as the default, or low tone because it's a nasal? I'm totally out of my area of expertise here, so if the chat has thoughts, I am very excited to hear them. I'm just going to do a few more of these. Mal mot is going to give us LH. So then we could also have vowels going to L after or before nasals. Yeah, okay. So then we have mon, men, meet. Mot, mal, smas. This is going to be LH, smas. Oh, no, it's not. No, incorrect. It's going to be smart. And so it's going to be low, smart. Whereas this is going to be LH, sneet. Interesting. Yeah, I like this. Quaint, thank you. Okay. We have to remove some more codas. We need to get rid of L codas. I believe our task says that we have PTKM and eng codas. So we have to get rid of L somehow. We could use the same strategy we used before, giving them Mao. This would be Mwao, giving us low, high. Well, I think we'd have to flip that, Benji, because we actually ended up doing, putting it to W in the other branch. So we could put it to Y or to Yod here. So my. Or my to be consistent. So Mwy. So then we have Mwy, Smeet, Smart, My, Mot, Mon, Men, Meet. So now we have our wish of 4 contrastive contours. This is good. What else do we have? What else do we have to do? So we need L to go to Yod in final position. We need R to go to, presumably R is also going to do the same. What else? We need BDG to B voice. And we need H to drop out, I think. But don't worry, H has already given low tone. And then we also need the lateral fricative, if I can speak, to merge with S everywhere. And so this would be something like sui with high tone at the start and high tone at the end. High tone at the start because of the spread glottis of the lateral fricative. So we need another row here. So high from lateral fricative or H. Great. Okay, I like this suggestion. Jack has a great suggestion here. Instead of just getting rid of the R, instead of turning the R into a Y, why don't we play with the R to create more vowel quality distinctions? Yeah, let's make some new distinctions. What can we do? We could just back it. Well, why don't we treat it like it's German almost? And or we can have a sort of off glide for coda R. So where was one? So we could do something like, and I believe this showed up in one of our, in group A, right? We could do, I don't know, some kind of off glide. Where's a good example? Sneer, sneer. Something like that. Yeah, we could use the one that German uses. Snia. Oops, I did it in the wrong column. Excuse me. Snia. And then we could have some further fun with that. What's this also? Snia. Snia. How are we going to treat this tonally? So this is a nasal that's going to give us, go back to our rules, low tone, oops, low tone, and then high tone. So snia, snia. And then let's put this in as R. Yeah, and then we could take these diphthongs that we're creating and resolve them somehow. Snya to something like snge. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm picking up what you're putting down. So then we have to figure out what to do with all of the vowels. So ia goes to e. I feel like ia and e go to e. Huh. Ia, e go to. Apologies. I know I've totally given up on the IPA keyboard. I'm terrible. Maybe goes to all, like a back low vowel, and then or and ua. What can we do with them? Just to all, maybe? For symmetry, with what happens to ia and ea. Oops, that's schwa. That's not what I meant. There we go. You can see how the proverbial sausage is made here. All right, so then we have sne. I know you can't see what I'm typing. Apologies for that. I egotistically decided it was more important that you see my face. Here you go. All done. So, we have something like sne, snge, 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 snge. Cool. I like that. I like that a lot. More vowels. So we have now a nice, what's our vowel system look like now? We have a. So let's go from the top. We have e, a, a, o, u. Snge. To suffer or undergo. Snge. Then we have, just because here I am, we can do this one. So we have neat, which is going to give us low. Neat, self. Here's a good one. Yep, it is 8 vowel symmetric. It's kind of like, no, I can't think off the top of my head of a system that has that exact structure, but yeah, it would be perfect for, well, maybe in the future we'll start pushing some of these morphemes together, and then who knows what will happen. Okay, let's see what's going to happen with snoon. Snoon meaning power or storm. So this is flanked by nasal, so it'll be low tone. Oops, again, wrong one. Snoon. Yeah, I dig this. Okay, I'm going to put in a quick cut for YouTube, and we'll come back and we'll finish it up. So YouTube, thanks again. Wow, we just created another tone system in a scant few minutes. So come back, we'll develop it further. See you next time. Okay. And yeah, let's just go back in. I'll do the YouTube intro, and we'll finish up in the next 20 to 30 minutes. And yep, we still need to add the creaky voice, Benji. That's right. So YouTube, how are you? Welcome back. Let's go back in. We are working on this language, which we've provisionally called Sasute, but I think we need to apply some sound changes to it to see what it will be. So let's go back. Let's do it. We've been making this cool tone system, and we need to actually evolve the name of the language. So let's do that first. So we have sla going to la. What's this going to turn into? This is going to turn into hi, so hi. And the lateral fricative is going to turn to sa. So sa. And then suit. Some real suave vibes there. If anyone remembers the Tokipona Ruin Lex. So is that a deep cut at this point? And wrong column. Yeah, that is a wrong column. Okay, no. We're persevering. Okay, so then let's give the tone to this one. So this has a gem in it, so it's going to start off high, and this is going to end up high, so suit. So it's going to be sasute. That's kind of nice. You were right, Benji. Always go with your gut. Okay, so gotta catch up on something. If we had nasal assimilation, I'm thinking of a situation where we have complementary distribution of, I think that, wait, Quain, is this true in Taiwan Southern Min, that you have complementary distribution of nasalization on vowels and nasals in the onset? I don't know why I have that idea in my head. Yeah, so this one is the name of this language is high, the other one is low, so we have mi and sasute. I kind of like it. So maybe we could do something like that, where we have where if you have maybe not nasalization, because we don't have that in this branch, and I don't think we want to introduce it because that's more characteristic of mi. But maybe we could have it so that there is either a nasal in the onset or the coda. That could be kind of fun. Yeah, that's a really, really cool alternation. Lan or na. So maybe, yeah, we could do that. We could put I just wonder if we should get rid of the... We could get rid of the one in the onset. okay, I gotta squint to see what Sauten's just read or written. So okay, Sauten, unfortunately I can't read the symbols didn't come through on my interface for the chat, but I see the velar nasals turning into a glottal stop, and then something happens. So let's explore this idea where if you have a nasal in a nasal will delete if there's a nasal in the coda. Or maybe it doesn't delete, but it becomes a stop or something. Yeah. So that way we would have sngun. Let's go back down to where it's defined on its own. Where is it? It's ngisun, right? Oh yeah, sngun. So we have skun, but low tone. Oh, you're way ahead of me, Chad. How do you? Oh, Chad. Okay. So, skun, and then, and then reintroduce the velar fricative. Oh my goodness. Let's keep it as skun for a few seconds. Yeah, let's keep it as skun for a few seconds. We have a few more things to adjust. So nom here is going to become dom, low tone because it was flanked by nasals. We're getting popular demand to turn ska into sh. No, not the Swedish one. I can't even do it. And I have questions about that one. I think a lot of people have questions about that IPA character. Ska to sh, sorry, make sure everyone can see. Nom to lom. Yeah, we could do that. Nom to lom. The question is what to do with the reason that it works in Southern Min / Hokkien is that, and Quayne, correct me if I'm wrong here, but D and L are allophones. Nom to lom makes more sense than dom. Well, the question is if we have it go to lom, which I like a lot, but what do we do then with mom and ngom? Yeah, questions. But we can do ska to sh. The question is, do any languages distinguish between those two, the alveopalatal and the palatal alveolar? Polish maybe? I don't know. No, Polish has some very fine-grained distinctions in that part of the consonant space. I don't recall what it is exactly. But let's, for the sake of keeping our sanity, let's turn it into our familiar friend. Where is it? It's over here. So shun. That's cool. Shun. Okay. So then the question is, yeah, what is going to become of these? So we could just write them out. M, N, angma / the velar nasal. What are they going to become? They could become something like w, l. I don't know. We've already used k, so this is looking a bit kind of haphazard. Whereas if we did something like b, d, g, it would be clear what to do with it. We could do w, l, r, as Benji points out. This velar approximant. Where on earth is that? I don't even know where that is on this keyboard. Ah, here it is. There it is. And then we're contrasting w and l, which doesn't sound... I don't know. I like it, but I fear that we're getting into dangerous territory. We could just steal Hokkien solution. Balaga. Or we could steal, well, not steal, but we could just use the stops. We shouldn't get bogged down on it. We can change it later if we want. This solution works for our shun if we just make them oral stops. I don't know. Let's just keep it for now. That we have dom and something then like, yeah. Then we have something like tnam getting low tone, becoming tkam, tkam. And have we tolerated things like this before? Tkam? I don't think so. We might have to adjust this further. Yeah. But regardless, for now we have tkam. We could do something with this less. Tonally, what's going to happen to it? It's going to become something like high, low. And then it's going to turn into let. We haven't done anything about the L's and R's and the onsets, which me did. We may not want to do it here. Yeah, Jack's in favor of keeping those initial consonant clusters. But I like Benji and Quain's thought about TK becoming ch. So cham. This language feels like it's carving out its identity quite nicely. Cham. Yeah, I'm pleased with this. And then we have Nwa for eat. That's a great word. Nwa. Do we have more languages with clusters? Yeah, B2A2 has clusters. We haven't. Yeah, B2A2 has quack. And CA has smlor and pkak and ban. So, you know, we haven't lost our opportunity to play with clusters, but I think Sasute can handle clusters initially, at least. I think that's good. let's see what to do with some of the things that I think we have to call this language quack. Where was it? Where's Pequot? Yes. Okay, officially now, this language is called Quack. What are we doing for that word in Sasute? We have a geminate, so we're going high. So pak. That's cute. But we have to deal with the one that Quain hated in the other language. That cluster, where was it? We have these things like chnan. This is going to turn into a low tone because it's flanked by nasals, but our rule is telling us that we go chdan or chtan to assimilate in voicing. This is, we could use this chnya idea that Benji has, but this ends in a nasal, so we have to denasalize the stop. And so I think what we do then is just delete that second T. So we have a bit of a conspiracy of things creating these ch onsets. Chan. And similarly, basically we can rewrite this rule to be a bit cleaner. P, T, K, go to nothing after ch. So then we can get rid of chkal this way. Becomes chai. And this is going to start off with, what's it going to start off with? High tone, I think. It's going to be a high tone word. Chai. Yeah, we did have ch going to ch in the other language, but I kind of feel like we have this preference. This language seems to like this ch onset, and so I think we should keep it. Sht does sound kind of Slavic. Well, why don't we put that in one of the other languages? Yeah, and then so we can just say all consonants delete after ch. So then we have chol becoming choi, becoming choi. What does this mean? Sit. Choi. Yeah. Okay. So the next steps, I think we're probably at the point where we should draw to a close for today. I'm really happy with this. This is cool. I think we've created two related languages that have different structures. Oh, we need. Oh, yeah, okay. Before we go, stop everything. We need to make sure that we have creaky voice on one of these tones. Okay, chat. Thoughts on creaky voice? What I know about creaky voice is that it shows up in low tones in Mandarin. That's it. That's the extent of my knowledge of creaky voice. So, if anyone has inspiration for what to do with creaky voice, LH is creaky. So let's say that LH is creaky. So, snge. we can actually, to show you how little I know about creaky voice, I don't even know what the IPA diacritic for it is. So, you know, just goes to show you, you don't know everything. So let's say that LH is going to be our creaky voice, the tone that's associated with creaky voice. Oh, it's tilde below. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So let's get ourselves a creaky voice diacritic, and let's put it on this LH. But so this is just sort of allophonic. It's redundant. It's coming along with LH, with the rising tone, sne. We may want to phonemicize it at a later date, but I think to fulfill our charge, our task for today, which is that it has to have creaky tone. The only thing we haven't done is sandhi yet, but I don't think we have time to get into that today. So all of our rising tones will be associated with creaky voice. We may want to play with that and do something else with it later, but I think for now that's good. So this is so my homework is going to be to get all of this into Lexergy. Wish me luck with that, and then we'll be able to return to me and Sasute on another occasion, most likely next week. I think we're on a roll here, and we want to do some more. So I'm gonna scoot over back to the full screen. I'm gonna say goodbye to YouTube. Bye YouTube. Thanks for joining us. It's so much fun making tone systems with you. Come back, because more is gonna come. Until then, I'll give you the big thumbs up, and we'll see you next time. Okay, chat. I'm not in a huge hurry to head off. I want to spend a few more minutes with you, just chatting. Thanks for bearing with us through all the technical difficulties today. It has to happen at some point, and so it happened to happen today. So that's the way it is. And thanks for waiting as I was a little bit delayed coming in. I have to share this room while I'm here, and there was an event immediately before mine that caused the room to be occupied. So, Quayne, are you suggesting that we should find some way of writing me with Chinese characters? I don't know if that's what you're suggesting, but if you are, there's a great evil within you, one of which I approve heartily. This was a fun stream. I have to agree with you, Jack. This is fun and fruitful. We even have a word for fruit. I'm just gonna scoot back over. It's tarun, right? Or is it duan or tarun? It's one of the two. Quick. That's not the way to find something. Fruit. Trun. So, however that would be in Sasute, we can work on it next time. Yeah, the thing is, it is Control F, but the question is, when you have a keyboard that is a Windows keyboard attached to a Mac in Latin American character layout, which thing is Control? I have no idea. Yeah. But anyway, many thanks to all of you. This has been fun. We will see you again next week. We'll keep up the once a week schedule while I'm here in Peru, because again I have to take up someone else's space in order to create the streams, and I don't like to inconvenience them that much. But we got to keep up our momentum. we have reached 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, so we're gonna plan something special probably for when we'll do it probably after I get back to Canada, and then we can get back to our more usual twice a week streaming schedule. But other than that, everyone, thanks again. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for joining and for all your suggestions, and you really carried me on that second half because I was out of tonogenesis ideas. So many thanks, and we will see you again next week. Although I should point out, if you're not on the Discord, get on the Discord. The link's in the description, and then you can chat and we can discuss this further. If you have any suggestions, they're always welcome there, or in the YouTube comment section, or wherever. Other than that, thanks again. I think I've said that 10 times, so I'll just sign off now. See you next time.